I'll tell you what I really like about the Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight. For one, you got to take into consideration all throughout this entire decade of boxing, one of the biggest problems was trying to get the biggest fights to come together, or at least come within the right frame of time within the two prime years of those two athletes that are competing against each other. For example, Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather happened a little bit too late. Should have happened in 2012. Instead, it happened in 2015. Well, now you have this situation with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Maybe you can argue and say that it should have happened in 2017, 2018, but no one can argue that they're excited about this fight that's coming up in July 29th, which unfortunately I believe is the same day as the BMF card with Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier rematching each other, but this time with the implications of a BMF belt, a belt that was originally contested by none other than Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, in which, by the way, Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz competed in front of Donald Trump during his presidency in Madison Square Garden. And now they're going to revamp that belt into the lightweight division with two of the most exciting strikers and exciting barn burner fighters in that of Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. Well, what's great about that fight is, well, unfortunately, one of the things that's not so great about that fight is the fact that it's going to be on the same day as Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. But here's the thing that I want to really bring up that I think is really important to touch on in the current ethos of combat sports, and that is this, is that for a while, boxing has tried to play this protective game of trying to build up their guys and then trying to protect their stars. But then eventually you have the UFC, who is just beating them in pay-per-view numbers all throughout the years, and then they just decided, you know what, in order for us to compete in this market, we have to go out there and put out some marquee matchups. So lo and behold, this is exactly what you have going on right now. You have a situation where Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence really have nobody else to fight except for themselves. Now, they're going to have a press tour on this particular card. I believe that they're going to have one for LA, and then they're going to have one for New York, I think, on, so let's see, Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. When is the conference? I think you could look this up on YouTube. So that is, NYC is going to be tomorrow. Crawford. Yeah, so basically right around this week, they're going to have that. They're going to have Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. in their press conference tomorrow in New York at 8 a.m. And then they're going to have one in Los Angeles the next following day, which is going to be on the days. So basically this whole entire week, they're going to have a press conference for these guys. So that's what I think is significant about the UFC, is that they influence these other combat sports, especially boxing, in the mainstream level that it's at right now, for them to step their game up and for them to just have the right matchups so that everybody can get excited and spend their Saturday watching these fights. But that's what you have to do as a promoter and as a promotion. So I think it's going to be great seeing this match with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, because it's going to prove who's going to be the best 147-pound boxer in this current era of boxing right now, in this current division. Who's the best guy and who's the best guy in this era. So I think that with the way that the UFC is structured, I know that guys are underpaid in a way that you can standardize from top-level boxers. But at the same time, you got to admit, there's something to the effect of how they're able to make all these fights and how they're able to bring all these marquee matchups in a way that boxing just couldn't. Or if boxing actually does, it becomes this extremely special moment. Well, guess what? This is exactly what it is. That special moment in boxing that you're going to get once in a while.